It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 4 films of February 1st, 2008. And I want to let you know right now, I had some trouble remembering what the movies were. Not because I didn't know already, but if you go to Box Office Mojo right now, something is up with the page. And I'm just going to let you see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, ordinarily you would see the new releases in yellow, but as you can see, the yellow's been taken away, and you're probably thinking, well, it's just maybe on this page alone. But no, if you go to the weekends for the current year, get away from that, yeah, it's all the same on this one too. So I don't know what the hell is going on here with that, but I am going to do, but I should have a good idea of the 4 movies that I have here. I already got the trailers already, so should be good to go on that front. So as you can see from the first one there, we have a concert film with Miley Cyrus. We have a J-horror film remake with Jessica Alba, and 2 more installments in the, I guess this is going to be a new trend now for bad comedies, where I'm just going to throw in the clip from the ASDF movie, like, haha, comedy. Because, yeah, we've got 2 more bad comedies to look at here, but we'll get to those eventually. But before we do any of that, let's go ahead and take a look at the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is, of course, Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus, The Best of Both Worlds in 3D!
Picture concert event you've been waiting for. Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus, Best of Both Worlds extended concert movie in 3D. For the first time, the year's biggest music sensation comes home with even more songs than the theatrical movie. And in 3D, it's like she's performing right in your living room. Be there for the incredible premiere performance of Miley Cyrus. The must-own DVD is packed with exclusive bonus extras and go behind the scenes with backstage access. This summer, surround yourself with Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus in 3D. Bring home the only extended concert experience. Coming soon in 3D to Disney DVD.
Although technically a 3D movie with a 16-year-old Miley Cyrus would be kind of kind of creepy and give off some really, really bad signals. But you know what? Hey, I just saw her on the Grammys a couple weeks ago, and I gotta say, she's actually gotten hotter over the last couple of years, in the what, 20 years since it's come out. And I can say that because I'm 36, she's 32. It's a 4-age difference, so it is not creepy in any way, shape, or form. At least I think it is. But let me just go ahead and move on to the movie itself here, because, yeah, you could see that this is basically a film version of her concert that she was doing when Hannah Montana was on the air, the Best of Both Worlds concert, which the title of that sounds like a transsexual type of movie, if you ask me. But yeah, this is basically a concert, one of her concerts put up for the big screen, which, yeah, these were a pretty big deal back in the day. Like, you had to get, like, the things that, you know, when you see people scalping concert tickets for people like Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter, they were doing it a lot for Miley Cyrus back in the day. I mean, they were pouring the money in, and, like, yeah, people were going to these concerts all across the board here. But yeah, I've never seen this movie because obviously I was never a fan of Hannah Montana or Miley Cyrus, or I was never a fan of Miley Cyrus around the time. So this really was not made for me in particular. So I really have no real feelings towards this movie in general. But I will say this, though. This is actually a very significant film because as we talked about on last week's movies, U2 3D came out, and with that and also this was especially with this movie, because of how successful it was, this was basically Disney saying, you know, here's how you make digital 3D a success all across the board here. You take things like concerts, you take like blockbusters, you shoot them with these very unique and impressive 3D glasses, 3D cameras that we have to work with here, And that's the thing you can do to get people back into the movie theaters. Also, you got to make the movies good, obviously. But this was a major testing. This was a major groundbreaking test to see whether or not this could actually work out. And so they put it into theaters for 1 week, and because of how successful it was, they obviously expanded it for a couple more weeks, and it actually did put in a pretty big profit overall. It made over $70 million, like 10 times its $7 million budget. So it easily made back its money back and then some. And it made the studios realize that, hey, 3D may be the way to go in the future. So so you're going to start to see a lot more movies being put out in digital 3D. And for James Cameron with Avatar, it was really a big this was big for him because, you know, he was putting all of his money and effort into Avatar. And, of course, a year and a half later, it turns into the biggest it turns into the highest grossing film of all time. So it's hard to believe that this was the film that really showed everybody that digital 3D was the way to go to the future. And it played out, and as we've seen, it's played out in both good and bad ways. Good because when they shoot the movies in 3D, it actually looks pretty cool. And then we've seen the bad with movies that weren't intended for 3D, but they were post-converted into 3D after the filming was done, which led to a number of really, really bad ports. And we'll delve into those once we get closer to late 2009, especially early 2010, because that was where we got some of the worst ones. But yeah, as far as this goes, I guess like I said, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. But like I said, this music wasn't really my thing back then, and yeah, she's definitely gotten a lot better over time. And I guess this really does show that she does have some potential as a box office draw. I mean, later on in the year, she'd be in Bolt, which I thought she was pretty good in, and then they did a Hannah Montana movie based off the show the following year, which, again, not made for me per se, but I've seen little bits and pieces of it, and I don't know, it doesn't look that bad overall. But then she also did The Last Song, and then So Undercover, and then after that, it was just like, okay, maybe you just stick to the singing, honey. And yeah, so overall, yeah, I've never seen the movie, but I got to give it credit for giving us the digital 3D generation that we still kind of are in right now. We're not seeing it as much as we did back then when this came out, but is in between when this came out and now, but it's definitely still there. You can still go to movies and get 3D glasses and see them in 3D, but they're not like the big draw anymore as they were back in the day. But we're going to continue to delve more into that as we go along in the years and months to come, because we're going to see a lot more of these in the coming years. So yeah, that's Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, the best of both worlds for you. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is yet another really bad J-horror film, and once again, another strike in Jessica Alba's dwindling film career. Let's talk about The Eye.
Nervous about tomorrow?
I've never been so scared in my entire life.
Cellular memory, a phenomenon in which transplant recipients display characteristics of the donor. On February 1st,
These are your eyes now.
I'm seeing things I shouldn't see.
you won't believe
It's not real. It's not real.
her eyes. Jessica Alba. The Eye, rated PG-13, February 1st.
Just go and watch the movie Blink with Madeline Stowe from 1994. It's basically this movie, except done a whole lot better. It doesn't have J-horror aspects. It was actually a thrilling mystery overall. This is not a good movie, and it has Jessica Alba as a violinist who's been blind since she was 5 years old due to an accident. She submits to a surgery of cornea transplantation to recover her vision, and while recovering from the operation, she realizes that she's having strange visions. With the support of a doctor, she finds who the donor of the eyes are, and begins a journey to find out the truth behind her visions. And yeah, like I said, it's another one of these really bad J-horror remakes that we're going to get, because we just had one missed call. We're going to get Shudder in the next month, and yeah, it's just not going to get any better anytime soon. And the film doesn't do anything new or clever that these movies hadn't done before. Everyone was trying to capture the success of The Grudge and also The Ring, and that got old really, really quickly. Like, as soon as they realized that we could take all these J-horror movies and bring them to America, they'll be big hits. And no, they were not. And this is definitely another one of those examples of a movie that was nowhere near going to be the success they thought that it was going to be. And again, you have somebody like Sebastian Gutierrez, who has made some pretty bad movies, some we've talked about already, and some we're definitely going to get to down the road here. So yeah, definitely not a good sign by any means necessary. And like I said, this is when Jessica Alba's film career was just going downhill. Like, we're still more than halfway down the roller coaster. We haven't gotten to the horrors that is the Love Guru yet, because that's when it literally, the roller coaster car just came careening down and just caused a massive explosion and disaster to her career, because that was really the final nail in the coffin. We're still not at that point yet, but we're getting there. This is not a good movie. This is a terrible film, really lazy, not scary at all. Avoid it like the plague. And with that said, let's go ahead and move on to some more bad movies. Another installment of, like I said, I guess a new series on here called Comedy, because, we're still in the midst of some really bad comedies to start the year off. And here's another bad comedy, and that is Paul Rudd, Ava Longoria, and Lake Bell starring in Over Her Dead Body.
Passed away about a year ago on their wedding day.
She was crushed by an angel.
Huh?
And as sad as I am, I do appreciate the irony.
I am getting something, but it's a man. He's in a blue suit.
My father wore blue suits.
Are you trying to contact him?
He's still alive.
Oh.
At least I think he's still alive. I haven't spoken with him since last night. Maybe something happened this morning.
You didn't try.
I totally tried. I chanted, played with an eagle feather, listened to some Tori Amos.
This is Kate's diary. You could go to him and say that she wants him to move on.
I can't do that.
You could fake it to salvage someone's life.
Ashley, right?
It was raining when you met her, the woman you were trying to contact.
Yeah.
What started as a little white lie
Why are you doing all this?
I'm helping someone.
Is he cute?
is becoming a real-life romance.
Oh my God!
You know, I'm getting the feeling like she wants you to be happy again.
I'm getting that feeling too.
You are so dead. What?
Say that?
Until he dropped in.
Oh my God. Are you really like a ghost? It's awesome. Here, catch.
Run away. This is what happens when you lie about talking to a man's dead fiance. I've seen it 1,000 times.
Now the battle is on.
You're dead. I still don't want you to see him, and there's not a whole hell of a lot you could do about it. Really? I don't need sleep. I can hound you every second of every day. You're never gonna know if what you hear is Regal. Just stay cool, guys. Come on.
Airmaster's over. You know, for you.
Oh my God.
Don't do it. Oh, I'm doing it. Wow, this is gonna be awkward. Oh my God.
You okay?
Yeah, just, oh my God.
See, in reality, that would be the point where Lake Bell says, okay, bitch, here's how you do it. Like, here's how you, to please your man. Like, that's what a normal person would do in that situation, but not her. No. Not with this type of a comedy. You have, Ava Longoria, who plays a very, very icy, nasty bitch who dies on the day of her wedding to her fiance, played by Paul Rudd. And when she dies, he subsequently begins a relationship with a psychic played by Lake Bell, who becomes haunted by Ava Longoria's character trying to sabotage their relationship. Another movie that's trying to say, what if we took Ghost and decided to make it's like with P.S. I Love You. What if we took the movie Ghost and made it bland and boring and wrote it like a bad sitcom? Here's another one that decides, let's take Ghost and make it a bad sitcom, but instead let's make everybody the most dislikable person ever. You hate every single person in this movie, not just Ava Longoria, not just, Paul Rudd you can't stand because he does not care that this person is dead. Like when he goes to the psychic for the first time and the psychic is asking her, oh, so you lost your wife, right? You lost your fiance, and he's just like, yeah, she died. So what's this whole psychic thing about that? Like, if I lost my fiance or my girlfriend the way that he does in this movie, my first thought is, I'm gonna play this up for laughs. No. My first thought is, I need to take some time. I need to get my mind straight because I just saw my girlfriend die in the most bizarre way possible. Not in this movie. This is another one of those movies where the comedy is not in the fact that is not in what comedy should be, and that's misery. But this is the type of comedy that says we can have a little misery, but we just want to make you feel happy all across the board here. No. That is not how this works. That is not how reality works at all. And it doesn't help that you have some really, really bad characters all across the board here who are so badly written. So pointless. Jason Biggs plays a character who reveals that he's gay, and they're not even trying to hide it. Like, they reveal it as like this big twist at the end of the movie, and it's just like, dude, we saw it the moment you jumped on screen. Like, this is a film that is so lazy and so boring and so uninspired. And then again, it doesn't help. This is done by the same person, the producer. This is one of the same people that gave us that great movie that we talked about last time, Meet the Spartans. I'm, of course, absolutely lying to you. Meet the Spartans is a terrible comedy. And this is indeed a terrible, terrible comedy that just wastes everybody's talents in here. All these people deserve to be in a much better comedy than this. And this fails on every single level of a comedy. This is not funny. This is not clever. It's boring. I almost said pretentious. It's not really pretentious. It's pretentious in a way that it's not a good movie in any way, shape, or form. And this is another one you should definitely avoid like the plague. But at least you can give it credit for this. It's at least trying to do something clever, unlike the last film we have here, and that is Strange Wilderness.
South American gazelles. This gazelle is eating a flower. This lion is eating the gazelle. But he'll probably spit out the flower. All right, that's got to be true, right? All right, let's go with that one. This is Strange Wilderness.
2 weeks from now, the show is canceled.
Thank you very much.
That's Bigfoot. I know where he's hiding.
This is exactly what we needed. Okay, Cooker, you need to... Is that a thong you're wearing? Yeah, I'm wearing a thong. Yes, the shark is a... What the... Look at that thing's teeth.
Strange Wilderness.
I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to tell you here. This is not another good movie. This is a terrible, really terrible comedy that is made by the same people that gave us Grandma's Boy. But the thing about Grandma's Boy is that it was stupid, it was silly, but it was funny. It was a funny stupid. It was a funny silly. There's none of that in this movie whatsoever. You have a movie that centers around the crew members of the titular fictional nature show Strange Wilderness heading to Ecuador to investigate a Bigfoot sighting in order to keep their show from being canceled. And boy, can you tell that this movie was shot 3 years ago and didn't get released until February of 2008. Because you see people like Jonah Hill. You see Justin Long, you see Jeff Garlin, you see Ernest Borgnine, Robert Patrick, Harry Hamlin, Steve Zahn, and you can definitely tell they looked very different than they did back in 2005 than they did in 2008. Because this was sitting on a shelf at a studio for years now, and someone just said we need to put something out there for this weekend. Here's this movie by the same guys who make Grandma's Boy. We might get something out of it, and nobody went to go see this movie. Nobody gave this movie any attention, and it went ahead and went on to become a massive failure. And unlike Grandma's Boy, like I said, which is funny in its stupidity, this is just stupid for the sake of being stupid. Everybody in here is an idiot. Everybody in here is dumb. They do stuff in this movie that it makes no sense whatsoever. And when they do this stuff, it completely takes away from the entire point of the film's existence. Like, the whole thing is to go after Bigfoot. When they finally get to him at the end of the movie, you know what they do? They shoot the crap out of him, and it's just like, well, there goes the plot of the movie. The whole reason why we're here, because you killed the character you were going after. You killed Bigfoot, and it's just like, well, you know what? Maybe if you took him back to society, and maybe if you proved to everybody, hey, here's Bigfoot, here's proof that we got him. Maybe if you actually had a hook or something clever to say about it, maybe there could actually be something funny. But no, guess what they do? They just completely give up. They just completely realize that there's no hope for what they're trying to do whatsoever. There are characters that get killed off who are supposed to serve clear plot conveniences to the storyline, who are killed off and then never mentioned again. They are completely taken out of the film for no reason whatsoever. There are characters in this film that do stupid stuff for the sake of being stupid. There's nothing funny about the movie whatsoever. It's a disaster. The film doesn't even end. The film does not even end. You want to know how this movie ends? Because what they did apparently was so well and so good that they're supposed to read, is that they basically, They basically did everything did all the stupid things they needed to do to get the show back on the air, and they basically said, "Hey, we're putting the show back on the air," and it literally ends with an outtake, not even a scene from the actual movie, a blooper from the outtakes. You can even hear the director Fred Wolf saying, "Okay, cut," and then laughing. It's just like, are you fucking serious? Like, the movie doesn't even have an ending. That's how terrible this movie is. This movie is so lazy and so unrepentantly terrible. I just came up with a new word. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm like a Chris Parnell on a Saturday Night Live. You know, you Fondruk, and it's just like, is that an actual curse word? I hope so. Like, the bottom line here is that this movie is terrible. This movie is not that funny. I mean, there are moments when sometimes the stupidity can actually get a decent laugh. Like, I do love the one part where, like, there's one scene that got me to laugh pretty hard when they're doing this one scene, when they're just going through all this old footage, and you just hear Steve Zahn just screaming at the top of his lungs, like, "Oh God, make it stop!" Like, it just keeps going and going. Moments like that make it worth it somewhat. Some of the few moments that make me say, okay, I'll give him credit. It was stupid, but I at least got a couple of laughs out of it. But that's it, man. This movie is just unbelievably terrible. This is a film that is so lazy. It's so cheap. It's so uninventive. It's not funny whatsoever for the most part. It's a bad movie. It's a terrible, terrible movie. It's a movie that really, it's something that you need to avoid. There's a reason why this sat on the shelf for 3 years, because, yeah, they knew it was bad, and they knew that there was nobody that was going to give this movie a fair shot. Because, yeah, it's that terrible of a film. So avoid Strange Wilderness like the plague.
The director of Hitch.
He has no clue how to behave like a responsible adult.
You're not gonna hit me. Phil and Tess are looking to put the spark back in their relationship.
That was my vote, which belongs to me.
Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson.
You married a guy for the sex and then expected him to be smart.
Bet you $1,000.
You don't have $1,000.
I'll make it 10.
You don't have $10.
Fool's Gold.
We're flying!
Yep.
How do we land?
Yep.
Rated PG-13 starts February 8th.
Yeah, so needless to say, this is a film that was trying to capture the magic and spirit of Romancing the Stone and the Jewel of the Nile, the Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner movies of the 80s, and didn't quite work out well. Even with the director of Hitch on board here, this is not a very good movie. It follows Hudson and McConaughey as a divorced couple who rekindle their romantic life while searching for a lost treasure. So, they're recently divorced, so of course they're going to be bickering and going at each other through the entire movie, and I'm sorry, that's not a fun thing. That's not fun to watch at all. And I don't care if it's people like Matthew McConaughey or Kate Hudson. I'm sorry. Bickering couples is not fun to watch, especially if the comedy is not funny at all. And the comedy in this is not funny at all. Like, this movie could have just easily been a bad romantic comedy, but no. We gotta take it to the extreme levels here. We've gotta have these such talented actors, not just McConaughey and Hudson, but Donald Sutherland is wasted in this movie. You know, Ray Winstone, who was just in Beowulf at this time, is really bad in here. Kevin Hart is in this movie. Malcolm Jamal Warner playing these really bad stereotypical Caribbean gangsters. You have a lot of gay jokes all across the movie that make no sense whatsoever. Like, why are these in here? The daughter of Donald Sutherland's character is supposed to be the other love interest in the movie, but she's not even that. She looks like a teenage girl. Like she looks very underage in this movie. And I know this actress is much older than she comes off, but she does not look very convincing as an older woman. No, she looks like somebody who should be very underage, and you should definitely check her age first before you start asking questions about whether or not is she single or not. But yeah, the movie itself is just a bad film. It's not funny. It's not creative. The mystery isn't that engaging. The offensive humor is just all over the place. I just don't get why they thought they needed to add this into this movie. It's terrible. It's a really bad movie. It's a lazy film. It's so awful. What more do you got to say, man? Fool's gold. You'd be a fool if you were to see this movie. Avoid this one like the plague. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the other big comedy that came out this week, and a good comedy for once. Let's take a look at Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. And before you say anything, let's just open it like this. Here, let's do this. Roscoe Jenkins!
Going back home is never never easy.
My family, they don't respect me. You got the picnic tablecloth fans. Hey, boo-boo, let me get another picnic basket.
Prepare
Get that dog out of my kitchen. This ain't sanitary.
to relate.
I make no damn sense.
Martin Lawrence,
I'm about to strike you out, player. They done knocked the wig off and everything.
Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins.
I sincerely apologize for the way that I opened that before we got to the trailer, but I had to do it, man. You know, I mean, come on. Obviously, you know the meme, Leroy Jenkins, and of course I got to do the Roscoe Jenkins. I don't even know if that's the move that guy did in the World of Warcraft game when he did that, but was it even World of Warcraft? I don't even remember, but anyway, the point here is that we have a new Martin Lawrence comedy called Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, directed by Malcolm D. Lee, who did the Best Man movies, and this is a film where he plays a talk show host having to confront both his southern roots and his entire family during his parents' wedding anniversary, the parents played by Margaret Avery and James Earl Jones. And, of course, you have all these scenarios going on behind the scenes with all the family involved. It's another one of those family reunion comedies that we've been getting a lot of as of recently. The Family Stone, Dan in Real Life, This Christmas. Most of them have been pretty good, and this is one that I think unfairly got thrashed by critics overall when it came out. And, you know, it was a film that most people said, oh, it relied heavily on too much lowbrow slapstick, or wasn't all that funny. Well, we just had Fool's Gold, which was the #1 movie, and I can tell you, this is a much better movie than fucking Fool's Gold is. But it helps because you have a good director in Malcolm D. Lee, who, of course, is was he the brother of Spike Lee, or was he related to Spike? He's related to Spike Lee. He's the cousin of Spike Lee, And he's done a lot of movies that I have really enjoyed. I think are actually really funny. I've liked the Best Man movies. I've liked, as you know, Undercover Brother I thought was pretty good. Roll Bounce. He's going to do another movie later in the year with Bernie Mac and Samuel L. Jackson and Soul Men. The worst thing he's ever directed is Scary Movie 5, and even then, it's not that it was a bad movie. It completely goes against everything of what the Scary Movie films were supposed to be, like in terms of how the quality of the comedy was in that movie. But yeah, he's directed a lot of really good stuff, and I think it helps that you have a solid cast working around him. Like, this is one of the few movies where Cedric the Entertainer's really good. You could say that he's actually pretty funny in here. You know, you've got Martin Lawrence in the cast. It also includes Mike Epps, you know, Joy Bryant, Nicole Ori Parker, you know, Michael Clark Duncan, Louis C.K., Atheon Crockett, Monique. I mean, there's a lot of good talent in here that can elevate this movie to another level and make it an enjoyable film. And I think it works very well to the film's advantages. And hey, Martin Lawrence gets a chance to play the smart brother again a couple years later in the remake of Death at a Funeral. So there you go. But yeah, I actually like this movie. I think it's a very fun film overall. It is certainly the better Martin Lawrence comedy that comes out in the first part of the year because, yeah, we'll save that for College Road Trip next month because, oh boy, that's another one of those bad comedies that I'll get into eventually. But, yeah, I thought this was a pretty good movie. It's actually a fun film. I enjoyed it a lot, so I do recommend it. Definitely check out Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, especially if you like Malcolm Lee's other works. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is another really good comedy that kind of came under the radar. It's mostly, okay, it's a stand-up comedy film, but it's still a good comedy. It's Vince Vaughn's Wild West comedy show, 30 Days and 30 Nights, Hollywood to the Heartland. If you thought the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford was one of the longest titles ever, I feel sorry for the theater owners that had to put that title in there when they had to put this movie out.
He has killed in Tucson, Memphis, Chicago, and in countless cities in between.
Show us your boobs!
I feel like I'm in a Girls Gone Wild video. I'm Vince Vaughn. Put your hands together for Wild West Comedy Show.
This February.
Yeah, we're taking a bus and going all around on a bus. And what do you do here in Lubbock?
My fiance.
Very nice.
They came.
I always carry a scene from Swingers with me. Anybody could have done your part. I think Herbie the Love Bug could do it.
Who's the big winner here tonight at the casino, huh? Nike.
They saw. They killed.
This is insane.
Vince Vaughn's Wild West comedy show. 30 days and 30 nights from Hollywood to the heartland.
We played 30 cities, and we rocked them all, baby.
So here you have a standard stand-up comedy film in which Vince Vaughn, it follows this month-long comedy variety tour with 4 other stand-up comedians in the spirit of the Wild West shows. And he picks 4 comedians from the Comedy Store, Ahmed, John Caparulo, who you've seen in some places, but Brett Ernst. Maybe the most notable one, especially nowadays, is Sebastian Maniscalco, which this is the first time I ever saw him in anything. And, of course, 15 years later, actually, he's gone on to become a pretty prolific comedic star in movies and TV shows. But the tour begins on September 12, 2005 in Hollywood at the Music Box and spawns 30 shows over 30 consecutive nights in 30 cities across the U.S. Vince Vaughn acts as the MC, performs improv sketches with surprise guests, as you see Jon Favreau, Justin Long, Keira O'Donnell, and Peter Billingsley. I never realized that he and Vince Vaughn were a producing team together until I saw this very movie. This was the first time I ever put the wheels together that Ralphie was part of Vince Vaughn's group here. But they travel over 6,000 miles on their tour and includes stops in the Western, Southern, and Midwestern states and highlights their performances on stage and contains interviews with the various comedians. And it was one of these movies I saw in theaters. It was playing in my local theater. I wanted to see a new movie, and I thought maybe go check this out because it had Vince Vaughn in it. And yeah, it was actually a pretty good movie. And like I said, it was the movie that made me realize that Vince Vaughn and Ralphie were working together all the way back into the days when, they were doing that CBS After School Special, which they show in here. And I remember seeing this in high school. They would show this in gym class, that particular one where Peter Billingsley's high on drugs or something like that, or steroids. But yeah, that's what I always remember about that. And yeah, it's pretty fun what they do with a little bit there. And it definitely shows that Ralphie has definitely changed in the 18 years since this came out. I'm thinking it's 2018, but no, 2008. But yeah, overall, it's a really good, fun documentary. It's a really good stand-up from all the comedians all across the board. In-depth interviews overboard. There's one with, I think John Caparulo's the one who's kind of like the Larry the Cable Guy of the group, except I think much funnier. There's one bit that I always like in this where, he gets confused for somebody insulting him on stage and something like that. He thought he said something that got somebody upset overall, and they spend a whole lot amount of time on him just thinking did I do something wrong and all that, and then they had to have somebody come back and say hey, it wasn't your fault, it wasn't anything like that. And I like that there's little scenes like that in there. It's been a while since I've actually seen this movie, but I do remember that in particular. Like I said, I thought all the comedians played their parts very well. I thought they had a lot of good comedy sketches in there. It's a very underrated stand-up film. It's one you should definitely check out, especially if you like Vince Vaughn and you want to see him do something more on the lines of something that is not usually inside of his norm. I don't think he's ever been a stand-up comedian up to this point, but he plays it like he's done it for years now, and it works very well for what he's trying to do. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a very fun film. It's one you should definitely check out. And here's another good comedy that came out this weekend. Easily the best of the bunch. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, and Peter Dinklage, and Martin McDonagh's In Bruges.
How to hide out in Bruges.
Where's that?
It's in Belgium. Blend in with the tourists.
Been to the top of the tower?
Well, you lot ain't going up there.
What exactly are you trying to say?
They're a bunch of elephants.
Conceal your identity.
Blakely?
Yes. No, Mr. Cronham. No. Yes, Mr. Blakely. Yes.
And stick to your getaway plan.
I'm gonna go back to my room, see if I can escape.
Okay, on a count of 1, 2, 3, go.
Who says it?
Oh, you say it.
1, 2, 3, go!
In Bruges. What is your name? Derek, Pearl, Laurel. Rated R.
So in the movie, after a job goes wrong, a hitman named Ray and his partner await orders from their ruthless boss in Bruges, Belgium, and the last place in the world Ray wants to be at. And this is directed by Martin McDonagh, who of course recently did The Banshees of Inisherin, which was another really good movie, and he also did Seven Psychopaths and also 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which was also an Oscar winner in general. This one did not win any Oscars, although it was indeed nominated for Best Original Screenplay that year, but it lost out to Milk. But for a first-time feature-length directorial debut from this guy, he really does show what makes him so great as a director overall. I think he does a great job of handling this type of comedy that's very similar in the veins of something that Guy Ritchie would have done back in the day, like a mix of that mixed in with a little bit of the Boondock Saints. And I think it works when you have people like Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson and Ralph Fiennes in here. All great actors, all people who have showed what they can do as actors in general. And You know, it's a really good movie, and Peter Dinklage easily has the best scene in the entire movie. Like, it's a scene where, you know, like, he shows up in here, and it's crazy. Like, he really does hold out in this movie. Like, he has the most memorable lines in the film. Like, yeah, I've just been kept saying that it's Peter Dinklage in this movie playing the dwarf character, and I've been completely wrong on that. I've had this feeling for the last 17 years that the little guy in the movie is Peter Dinklage, but that is not the case at all. The man who actually plays this is a guy named Jordan Prentice. So, Peter Dinklage, I apologize to you, and I especially apologize to Jordan Prentice, because this is why I clearly need to do my research and go back and watch the movie again, because, yeah, watching the trailer again, you can easily tell that Jordan Prentice and Peter Dinklage are not the same guy. And so, yeah, I sincerely apologize to both of them. But Jordan Prentice, you were pretty good in the movie. I do remember you being pretty good in the movie and having one of the funnier lines in the movie. But, yeah, that should have been something I should have easily looked up beforehand. Because I was thinking about it. It's just like, I'm looking at because I have my Wikipedia page here, so I have the information here in case I need to look for a name. And I couldn't find Peter Dinklage's name anywhere. I'm thinking, where is he? I thought he was in this movie. And yeah, and I looked online, and it's just like, yeah, like, that's not Peter Dinklage. And again, I'm sorry for that, but like I said, I'll say this: Jordan Prentice is really good in here for the little bit that he's in. He is the breakthrough star of the film, and yeah, despite me completely getting the cast completely wrong in this is a really good movie, and one you should definitely check out. In Bruges. I'm going to stop right now because I'm already screwing up every single name in here. I've been doing this a lot recently. I've been screwing up all the names of who's in these movies or not. I need to do more of my research on these movies, but you should definitely check out In Bruges regardless. It's a great film, definitely worth checking out. So, with that said, let us move on to the last one we have here. Let me get on out of here before I screw up any more. Paris Hilton and Christine Lottie in The Hottie and the Naughty. Christine Lincoln, I should say. There I go again.
A new student today.
You never forget your first love.
Her name is Christabel.
Just ask Nate Cooper. 20 years later.
Aren't you Christabel Abbott? I think we went to school together.
Nate Cooper.
He's getting a second chance.
So what is it that you do these days?
I am a personal trainer.
You should check out my gym. My roommate and I are going there this afternoon for yoga. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
But the only way to get her...
Hey, Cooper.
...is to get past...
You remember June?
Her.
Yes, who could forget June? It's a very well-known law of physics. The hotness of one girl is directly proportional to the ugliness of her best friend.
Yeah, look at how disgusting that woman is. Clearly, if you look up Christine Lincoln in real life, you could tell that she is probably much uglier than Paris Hilton. Oh, wait. No, she's not. She's actually kind of hot. And much hotter compared to Paris Hilton back in 2008. 2025, that might be a different exception, because I don't know why, but Paris Hilton in 2025 looks much, much hotter now than she did in 2008. More hotter than Christine Lincoln? I don't know. I'd have to look at both pictures from then and now, but this is The Hottie and the Naughty, and you can already see the BS that this movie is. Essentially, what's the plot? You ever seen that American Dad episode where Steve wants to go and bang the hot chick when she won't date him unless she finds a date for her ugly best friend, played by Marissa Jared Winokur from Stacked and Hairspray. Yeah. Imagine that, except not as funny, not as clever, and much, much stupider, and much more ridiculously bad. This is a film that they had such high hopes for. Supposedly, this was supposed to be a Christmas release for a wide release. Like, they thought this was going to be the biggest hit of the holiday season, and yeah, that was not the case at all. They realized, oh wait. We realized that we have a movie with Paris Hilton, and she's supposed to be the hottie of this movie, and not the other chick who is a million times much hotter than she is in real life. And again, at that time, but the point I'm trying to make here is that the movie is terrible. This is a really, really bad movie that has had the story done much better in like I said, American Dad. American Dad had 30 minutes to do this story, and they did a much better job in it than anything that this movie does. This movie wastes a lot of good talent in here. Julie Moore can be very funny. I've seen him in a lot of movies where he can be very funny. You know, Christine Lincoln is a very good actress. You know, you watch her on Step by Step. She's been in a lot of other good comedies as well. She's great on Family Guy playing Joyce Kinney. There is a lot of good people that involved in this movie, but this movie is such a bad one-note premise, and it doesn't have anything of value that makes it worth it in the long run. And it's just such a terrible movie, and it really did seem like a last-ditch effort to save whatever was left of Paris Hilton's acting career, because, yeah, acting, if you will, because, yeah, when your biggest movie is House of Wax and you weren't even great in that, there's clearly a problem here, and it's you. You're the problem with this movie. You should just not even bother acting. But then again, I'm not. But then again, I'm not the one I'm not the agent that's telling a hotel heiress to do whatever she wants. She pretty much can do whatever she wants at this point. And I loved how around the time of this movie they made it seem like this was such a big deal for this movie bomb, because heaven forbid that Paris Hilton doesn't have enough money to do whatever the hell she wants. And yeah, there's a reason why this movie has not had any notable significance since it came out, because everyone knew it was bad right from the get-go, and nobody went to go see it. And quite frankly, I don't really need to tell you why that is, because it's such a bad concept, it's such a bad idea for a film, and it's just like, you know, like, just go and, like I said, go and watch the American Dad episode where Steve has to do the exact same thing, because it's much funnier, much more enjoyable, and it has a lot more memorable moments to it than anything that this pile of garbage does. So yeah, you can avoid the Hottie and the Naughty as much as you can. Avoid it like the plague. So, yeah, that's the Hottie and the Naughty for you.
There are people out there who have power. Who you are, what you are, can change history.
Did I just teleport? Hey! What happened to you? David, open the door! This thing that just happened could set me free. But why settle on one place when you could have the whole world?
I think there's something you're not telling me. If you don't want to tell me everything, that's fine. Just don't lie to me.
It must be hard, living like this with no family, friends.
If you can hear me, you can come home.
What I'd like to know is how you rob a bank without opening any doors.
And who are you?
You think it could go on like this forever? Living like this with no consequences? There are always consequences.
You think you're the only one? What, into the wall? They're trained to hunt us. They'll kill anyone that gets in their way. Take your girlfriend. We have to get her out. I can hear you.
This is where it ends. Right here, right now.
Take a deep breath. Why are you walking?
I mean, simple, straight concept here, but a good concept overall. You have Hayden Christensen starring as a young man capable of teleporting, as he's pursued by a secret society intent on killing him, with the leader of this group played by Samuel L. Jackson. And, you know, that's the type of power I think a lot of people really want to have, the ability to just teleport to wherever we want to. Like, it would be cool to head out to teleport myself from, like, you know, here to, say, New York City, or Hollywood, or Los Angeles, or, you know, Tokyo, Japan, just these places I've really wanted to go to all my life, Paris. Like, it'd be cool to have that kind of power in real life here. And I think that's what drew a lot of people to the movie in particular, is because of that concept alone. Now, this is based off of a novel by Stephen Gould, which I've never read before in my life, so I don't know how accurate the movie is to this, but considering that most of the negative reviews have come from the fact that the changes from the novel are very much different from the ones in the movie, yeah, that's pretty much not a good sign going forward for this film, but I don't think it's a bad movie overall. I think it has a good concept overall. The biggest problem with it is it's one of those movies that went through one of those rewrites that probably the studio wanted them to redo, and they basically had to change the main characters around, and it leads into a very complicated storyline here. Like, Samuel Jackson's character talks about, there's always consequences for what you do, and it seems like the only consequence they have is just like, Samuel Jackson has, is just like, I'm gonna steal your girl. That's the consequence. It's just like, there's really nothing at all to why Hayden Christensen should not be allowed to use this power wherever he wants to. I mean, like, it really does not make a whole lot of sense in terms of the spectrum of the sense of the movie. Why do I keep saying spectrum for some reason? But the point I'm trying to make here is that, yeah, the plot gets a little bit too ridiculous for its own good. And yeah, the film definitely tailors off at parts where it really does not need to go into these different areas. But I've seen much worse movies that have a concept like this and just fail miserably. This is not that type of a film. I like the concept alone of having this guy, having the ability to transport wherever you want to. I think the script should have been a whole lot better. I think I will say that the action sequences here are not that spectacular by any means necessary. It does have a pretty quick anticlimactic ending that really just, it stings. It really is a pain in the butt to get through, because it's just like you really have to this is really how we're ending the movie? Like, this guy literally has no consequences whatsoever to his actions, even though Samuel Jackson's making such a big deal out of it. It's just like, he's jealous because I feel like he's jealous because he thinks he should be the only one that has these powers, it feels like. But again, I think it was because of all the massive rewrites they had to do here. Diane Lane has a pretty pointless subplot in this movie that really doesn't go anywhere, that really did feel like it was added in at the last minute. There's a lot of things about this movie that feels rushed and feels kind of pointlessly dragged in here, and it really drags the movie down in general. Like, Michael Rooker's in the movie. Michael Rooker can be a great actor when he needs to. We see it in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He's fun in stuff like Cliffhanger. I mean, the guy has a lot of good acting chops in here, and even his plot in this movie feels really pointless and adds nothing to the table whatsoever. And it's just kind of like, what are we doing here in terms of the story in general? I mean, I give it credit for being kind of a fun movie when it needs to, especially with the plot that it has, because we would like to have this. I would like to have this, superpower that Hayden Christensen has. I cannot talk right now. It'd be cool to have the superpower in real life, but unfortunately, the film itself just doesn't really add to, the whole idea of why should this guy be threatened by these people, except for the fact that they're probably jealous of him because he's doing the things that they want to do. They do not do a good job of explaining that much of the plot in general, and it feels like this is a rush film, indeed. Like, it's just at 2 hours long. It's not even at 2 hours long. It's only 88 minutes, and as we've seen recently with stuff like Love Hurts, when you have a movie that is heavily trimmed down and basically it's just being rushed out there to make a quick buck, yeah, it doesn't work out very well in general. And there's probably a good director's cut out there somewhere for this movie that I haven't seen, but it's probably a way better movie than this is. But as it is, it's a serviceable, passable film in general. It's not a bad movie like everybody else says it is. It's just a film that, yeah, the script really is the biggest problem with it, and the editing is the biggest problem with it. And yeah, that's the only real things I don't really like about it. But everything else I thought was actually kind of good. So yeah, a mixed opinion, but mostly positive on a Jumper. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. Yet another attempt to create another Harry Potter-esque franchise. This is the Spiderwick Chronicles.
Check it out. Arthur Spiderwicks feel good.
Their world has never been closer. The adventure has never been bigger than it is in IMAX. Give me the book. Experience mind-blowing picture and cult-pounding surround sound as a new world of magic comes to life in IMAX. The Spiderwick Chronicles, rated PG. Visit IMAX.com for showtimes and listing.
So based off the best-selling book series of the same name, you have a story that follows the Spiderwick estate in New England, and you follow the adventures of Jared Grace, played by Freddie Highmore, who plays twin brothers in the movie, and his family as they discover a field guide to fairies, battle goblins, mole trolls, and magical creatures. And as I said before, this was kind of Paramount and Nickelodeon Movies' attempt to try to branch out of their normal family entertainment affair, like no longer doing like the Rugrats movies or the SpongeBob or Wild Thornberries, bringing their Nicktoons to the big screen, and trying to do more original concepts, something like not really original concepts, but more like everybody else is doing, like another series of unfortunate events type of movie. This was one of their attempts to try to launch a new fantasy franchise, like I said, of Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, with this movie, just to be kind of similar to that, and it does its job well enough. It's an overall enjoyable movie, and it's not the levels of Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, but it is still a really entertaining movie, and one that I could have easily seen probably making for a pretty entertaining series of films in general, had they continued to continue with the series in general. But the cast overall is really good. Like I said, Freddie Highmore plays dual roles in here. Sarah Bolger plays his sister. Mary Louise Parker plays the mother. You got Martin Short, Nick Nolte, and Seth Rogen as the voices of these creatures. You got a good script by Carrie Kirkpatrick, David Berenbaum, and John Sayles, which is very well done, keeping in the spirit of the books and while writing some pretty thought-provoking and intelligent dialogue for the characters' motivations. I mean, it's a really impressively looking film, too. The visuals are not cheap. They look like they put a lot of money into them. And you can definitely see where the budget went to on the screen. And you got some good music by James Horner, but then again, it's James Horner. The guy can usually bring you some really damn good music when he needs to. And it is just an overall fun film. It's a shame that it never became a new franchise, because out of all the attempts they tried to do with this was definitely one of the better ones. And this could have been something really special if they had gone with more movies. But unfortunately, we just have this one. But it works for what it is. A lot of good action, good acting, nice visuals, a good story. You know, it's definitely a book worth opening up when you really look at it. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next film we have here, and that is Step Up to the Streets.
Step up to Valentine's Day.
Go show them what you got. Go hard.
Do you have the moves?
Who's the player? I'm like an all-star.
Do you have the passion?
It's not about what you got. It's what you make of what you got.
Do you have what it takes to step up?
She has more talent and more conviction than anyone else I know.
Step up to rated PG-13.
Is this sweet for you?
Oh, yeah, that better be Baltimore you're talking about.
Exclusively featuring the #1 smash hit Low in theaters Thursday, February 14th.
Gotta love how this trailer has to emphasize that this came out on Valentine's Day. I cut it off right when it literally says, hey, this is coming out on Valentine's Day. Basically saying, hey, guys, bring your girls to this movie. You're gonna bang after this movie pretty much. I don't know if that's what they're saying, but I'm just thinking that's what they're saying. But Step Up to the Streets. This is the sequel to Step Up, and boy, it is definitely a major, no pun intended, step up from the original Step Up. You have the story here taking place at the fictional Maryland School of the Arts, where you have a rebellious street dancer played by Brianna Evigan, who's the daughter of Greg Evigan from, what was he in? Who you older people out there will remember from stuff like BJ and the Bear and My Two Dads. Younger people might remember him from Seventh Heaven too, but his daughter is, of course, in this movie. Chalk another one up to nepotism, but good nepotism this time around. She plays a rebellious street dancer who lands at the elite school, finding herself fighting to fit in while also trying to hold on to her own life. She is eventually joined forces with the school's hottest dancer, Chase Collins, played by Robert Hoffman, to form a crew of classmate outcasts to compete in Baltimore's underground dance battle, The Streets, finding a way to live her dream while building a bridge between her two separate worlds. And like I said, this is definitely a major improvement from the first movie. And it helps that you have a director like John Chu, who of course has now gone on to become a prolific director of several Oscar contenders, including Crazy Rich Asians, and just recently this year, Wicked. And what makes this movie better than the original film is the fact that this movie really emphasizes more of how creative can we get with these dance moves. I mean, this is literally turning into the dance movie equivalent to the Saw movies. People aren't really going to these movies for the storyline, for anything clever in the story department, but they want to see how creative the new dancers are going to be. And there are definitely moments in this movie where the dancing is really damn good, and it helps that you got a lot of really good dancers in here. Brianna Evigan is very good as a dancer in this movie, and then again, you also have Cassie Ventura, who, I'll just say that when back in the day when she was a musician, man, she was, there's a reason why this movie emphasizes her kind of sexuality in some parts of this movie, because yeah, she was she was definitely something back then. Not to say that she isn't now, but let's just say that I watched the Me and You video is a lot back in the day, especially during in high school when we were working on the news program. We'd have the TV on in the background with VH1's music video countdown playing, and that would usually play on a number of different occasions, and let's just say it is definitely worth the watch if you want to see some really good dancing from a beautiful, beautiful lady, because that's exactly what Cassie was back then. Again, not to say that she isn't now, but the point I'm trying to make here is that she's pretty hot, and yeah, the dancing is really damn cool to take a look at. This is where you start to see the growing the creativity of the dancers in this movie. Like I guarantee the writers were looking at this and going, Let's start working on some ways to create some unique, incredible dance moves. Like, what can we do to really up the ante here? And they would do that with every single step-up movie that came up after this, especially with the next movie, which has the benefit of doing it in 3D. But also the music in here is pretty good, too. This is the one that features the song Low from Flo Rida and T-Pain, and the next one would feature the song The Club Can't Even Handle Me Right Now, which is still a damn good song, but we'll eventually get to that one when we get to Step Up 3D. But not saying that this is a great movie by any means necessary, but this is a movie where you realize you're just coming in here to see how creative these dance moves are and seeing these beautiful people doing these dance moves. And yeah, it definitely plays out very well. The choreography is top notch. The cinematography is really good here. You see what John Chu brings to the table as a director that he would later show down the road with his other movies. It's an entertaining movie. It's a film that I did not think we were going to get as good of a film, especially after the first Step Up was kind of bland and generic overall, but this definitely works really, really well. Step Up to the Streets is a ton of fun. I highly recommend it. If you want to go in to see some impressive dance moves overall, Step Up to the Streets might be the answer for you. And yeah, like I said, it's going to get better from this point going forward in terms of the creative dancing that they do in these films, but that's just my personal take on it, per se. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie here. And that's Ryan Reynolds starring as a single father to Abigail Breslin as they try to figure out who's the real father to her daughter in this movie. This is definitely maybe.
For Will Hayes, love has been a catastrophe.
I'm letting you go. Sorry.
Don't make me staple your head.
But with a little help,
I want you to be happy.
I'm happy.
Trust me, Dad. You're not happy.
He'll get a second chance to make it right.
We'll find out what went wrong.
From the makers of Love Actually. I want the happy ending.
Absolutely.
This Valentine's Day, it's definitely maybe rated PG-13.
So as I said, the plot of this movie is set around New York City, where you have a former politician consultant played by Ryan Reynolds who tries to help his daughter, Abigail Breslin, understand his impending divorce by telling him the story of his past romantic relationships and how he ended up marrying her mother. So it's basically kind of How I Met Your Mother, the movie, except, you know, you're not sitting through 9 seasons of a TV show to find out who eventually the mother is, and the mother isn't eventually killed off, and then your kids tell you, you should go back to the person that you've been really in love with, even though the whole point of the show was about, telling you who the mother is. And yeah, I love How I Met Your Mother, but I'm sorry, that ending still irks me, and I'm glad they did an alternate ending when that show came out on a DVD, but we're not here to talk about How I Met Your Mother. That's a whole other thing altogether, but you get the idea. This is a very similar concept, except it's much truncated down, and it's really between 3 women in general in this movie, and it's an engaging film that really does. It's another one of those movies that shows what Ryan Reynolds is capable of. He's not just a Van Wilder here. He has a lot of charisma. He has a lot of charismatic abilities, and he really is very well done. Very well done. Like he's a piece of steak or something. But no, he's a very well written character here, and it helps you have a script from the people that did, Wimbledon, Bridget Jones, The Edge of Region. You have a lot of people who worked on Notting Hill and Love Actually. This feels like a film that feels like right in the same length as something like a Richard Curtis film. And you've got a lot of really good actors to make it work here. Elizabeth Banks, Rachel Weisz, and Kevin Kline, Isle Fisher. They all work very well, and they show a lot of chemistry with Ryan Reynolds, and you really don't know exactly where it's going to come together. Like, how are we going to find out who is Ryan Reynolds supposed to be with in general? And I thought it did its job very, very well. I think it's a very impressively put together film, and when they get to the reveal of who the Ryan Reynolds is going to end up with at the end, like, you get it. Like, you really do believe their chemistry all the way through, and you can believe that they are right for each other. And Abigail Breslin is pretty good in the film. Like I said before, this was around that time when they were really pushing her to be that next big star after the success with Little Miss Sunshine. She has like 3 different movies in this first half of the year where she's in it, and like they were really pushing hard for her to become the next big superstar, and it didn't really work out that way. She has gone on, of course, to become a notable star nowadays, but they were really pushing her to be the next big thing. But like I said, she works here as well. You got Derek Luke. Kevin Kline is really good in the film. It's Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline can usually make anything work, no matter how bad the movie is. But this is not a bad film. This is a really good film. It's a really engaging film, entertaining. It's one of Ryan Reynolds' more underrated movies in general, and something that definitely should be checked out more. I highly recommend checking it out, man, especially with Valentine's Day being today. Definitely seek Definitely Maybe out, because it is indeed more than just a maybe. It's actually a really sweet, really enjoyable film. I highly recommend it. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last film we have here. A much different movie than Definitely Maybe. George A. Romero returning to the land of the dead with, not the land of the dead, but a different kind of the dead. This is Diary of the Dead.
Are reporting accounts of the dead returning to life.
From legendary filmmaker George A. Romero
Yeah, there's an army of them.
comes his groundbreaking new vision
From now on, everyone who dies is going to come back.
of the beginning of the end.
All that's left is to record what's happening.
George A. Romero's Diary of the Dead.
I think it's time we left this place.
Groundbreaking if you hadn't seen Cloverfield just the month before, because, yeah, this thing kind of got screwed over by Cloverfield coming out the month before. But in this film, you have a group of young film students who run into real-life zombies while filming a horror movie of their own. So this is kind of George A. Romero entering the found footage era and seeing what he can do with zombies this time around. And it's not a bad movie per se, but it definitely is a film that you do feel like kind of got screwed over by Cloverfield coming out, or the Weinstein Company just leaving it behind only for Cloverfield to come out and kind of take all the momentum away from it. Because this is a film that, if it had come out before Cloverfield, I feel like could have had a much more bigger audience in general. But as far as the film itself goes, it's just kind of okay for what it is. It's nothing that terrible. It's nothing that awful. It's nothing that awful. It's not that great either. It's just more kind of an in-the-middle movie. Like, it's cool to see practical effects once again, and George A. Romero does a pretty good job of using the found footage aspect with the zombies in general to make it work for what they're trying to accomplish here. I just wish that the film had a little bit more better characters in general. Like, most of the characters in here are pretty forgettable and pretty stock in general. There's nothing really that incredible about them, per se. The only one I think that comes out that's unscathed is Tatiana Maslany, but of course Tatiana Maslany has gone on to become a very, very impressive actress in her own right with Orphan Black and most recently She-Hulk. I mean, that's not really much of a shocker at all that she's really good in this, but I mean, there's a lot of cool things about the film I like. I like the fact that they do take chances with some of the concept they have here. Like, there is a lot of scary moments in here that do generally work very well. But I feel like there's so much more that could have been done with this if there had been better characters overall. But, like I said, as it is, it's a pretty good movie. It's a film that I think works very well for what it is. I feel like it could have been so much more, but it's kind of like with Jumper. It's a film that I'm more mixed on, but I would definitely say it's something you should definitely check out, especially if you've seen the other George A. Romero movies. It's not going to be your favorite one by any means necessary, but it's definitely a film that it should be in that same caliber of something like, Dawn of the, like Land of the Dead, Day of the Dead, the later movies after Dawn of the Dead. But this is a good one overall. I do say check it out, especially considering that I live in Western Pennsylvania, where I always see my buddy George at the mall. I feel kind of obligated to have seen this, and I saw it, and yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, that's Diary of the Dead.
Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Here in Salamanca, Spain, President Ashton has been working with leaders from 5 continents to forge a new groundbreaking alliance.
Today, we make history.
States has been shot.
You need your camera. You saw the shooter. There was something in that window.
I saw something too.
We have to respond.
You can't give the order. You've been shot. We risk telling the world that you weren't really there.
We weren't there.
We need you to tell us what's going on.
I think I just told a guy who did it. We're shot in the city.
The NSA's just confirmed the threat.
We know who's behind that.
Don't release him. He knows something.
For the moment, the Americans think they've dodged a bullet.
Secret Service, we need to see your tapes. I'm in pursuit heading west. We got a satellite lock.
We're looking for 5 people out of 6 million.
Surprised to see me alive?
Stop. Rewind that.
Oh my God.
What did he see?
What have you done? What have you done?
The beauty of American arrogance is that they cannot imagine a world where they're not a step ahead.
There's something else going on here. Control is compromised. Get home!
My partner is in pursuit of a suspect.
There's no 20 on the president.
Where is he?
So a very interesting concept for a movie. You have the story focusing on an assassination attempt of the President of the United States, played by William Hurt in Salamanca, Spain, as seen through the various vantage point of different characters. You have the secret agents, played by Dennis Quaid and Matthew Fox. You have a Taurus, played by Forrest Whitaker. You have the President himself, Hurt, once again, and also you have this news reporter played by Sigourney Weaver. You even get not even a news reporter, but a news director, and you also get the terrorists themselves, and from their point of view. And it's a very intriguing movie that is literally taking a lot from what Akira Kurosawa did with Rashomon, which also employed this same type of storytelling, the same kind of story through multiple perspectives. In Rashomon, they used it to question the possibility of truth in a process called the Rashomon effect. Good Lord. And in Vantage Point, they recount a series of events which are reenacted through several different perspectives and viewpoints to reveal a truthful account about what happens. And it also explores kidnapping, assassination, and terrorism. And it's a really intriguing concept and makes for a good movie for the most part. Am I going to say it's a great movie? No, I'm not. I mean, it definitely has a lot of flaws to it, and there are definitely a lot of moments that are very, very much supposed to be taken seriously. It's one of those movies that has those moments where you're supposed to take it seriously and you're laughing your ass off. Like, I'll never forget when I went to go see this movie, and everyone was telling me about this scene where this little girl that Forrest Whitaker gets involved with, like, she's away from her mother, and she's trying to find her, and like there's this scene towards the end of the movie where, she's about to get hit by a car, and she just screams. She's just continuing screaming for about a good 30 seconds, and not even like a legitimate real scream. It reminded me so much of the scene from Austin Powers where it's Michael McDonald as the security guard, and he's putting his hand up when Mike Myers and Elizabeth Hurley are on the steamroller, and he's just screaming like, no! And it just keeps going for a whole minute. The difference is, though, that was meant for comedy. This is supposed to be taken seriously, and I'll never forget when that moment happened in this movie where the little girl was screaming. Like, everyone was just laughing their ass off because of just how long it was taking for this damn car to get to her. And, like, yeah, it definitely has a lot of those moments that are not that great, but there are a lot of moments where I think it does work. I like the idea of having this one singular moment through the eyes of various people so you can put together what's going on here. I like all the actors that they have in here. You also have Zoe Saldana, Ayet Zula, who will go on to star in Angels and Demons, Edgar Ramirez among the cast in here as well. There is a good idea involved in here, and I think it's done, for the most part, pretty well. Couldn't have been done a whole lot better? Absolutely. But for what it is, I think it's actually pretty solid. It's a very intriguing film. And I'm actually kind of surprised we don't get more movies that try to copy the same formula and do something similar to what a film like this or Rashomon does a whole lot better. Especially Rashomon in particular. Akira Kurosawa, of course, you can't go wrong with him. But yeah, it's amazing that we haven't had more movies that have tried to do something like this. And it would have been surprising to see, would have been interesting to see what they can do with it. But for what the movie has here, I thought it worked pretty well. I think it's an entertaining film. I think it's a really intriguing thriller, and it has some good moments where you do believe in the acting a lot. And it does have those silly moments, too, but they are very few and far between. But I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. I like Vantage Point. So with that said, let's go ahead and get to some comedies. And we start off with a really good one that was criminally underappreciated in its time, and I'm hoping that has garnered a following over the years. It's Michel Gondry's latest film, and that's Jack Black and Mos Def in Be Kind, Rewind.
Rewound this tape all over, and it's blank.
Really? This video don't work. Yours looks like this. Look. All the tapes are blank. It's the TV, Mike. Show me how. Why is it doing that? Does that happen on YouTube? Uh-oh. What is wrong with it? Why is it doing that when you do that? You're magnetized. You erased these tapes. It's you. You gotta find new tapes. I got a better idea. Follow me. When you're walking down the street and you see a little ghost, what you gonna do about Ghostbusters? What is that? It's the Ghostbusters theme song. I'm pretty sure it is. Something strange. Stay where you are. I'm on my way. Good guy, slide. That wasn't bad. What else y'all got? I will shoot you, and I know robot karate. Nothing from nothing, leave the
These are not just simple remakes.
What's happening to her? Our version is better. Our version is only 20 minutes. We're celebrities now. People recognize me in the street. Go to the kids. Go now. Listen now. Why do I have to? Listen. You have to keep her from blowing your head off. Amateurs. People want to see these movies.
I have a warrant to destroy all your tapes. The FBI warning, it's at the beginning of the tape. But we erased that. Damn, they're good. They can shoot any style.
You name it, we shoot it. Be Kind, Rewind videos. All the garbage.
Two movies with heart and soul.
Turn this tape. Are you dead? Knock it off. Would you talk to me like that? Don't let the wind run. Run, okay. So
This is definitely a much more restrained film, unlike The Science of Sleep and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind for Michel Gondry, the director, but that's honestly the best thing about the thing I can say about the movie, is that it's a more restrained film than what we're used to seeing from this director, and it does work. You have the story of an employee at a VHS store, played by Mos Def, and his conspiracy theorist friend, played by Jack Black, who works to recreate the rental store's film inventory after they were accidentally erased when the latter got himself magnetized while the proprietor was away. The proprietor being Danny Glover. You also have Melanie Diaz and also Mia Farrow among the cast in here as well. And of course, the big selling point of the movie was watching Jack Black and Mos Def suite all these different movies and go through and, remake all these different movies. Like, you see Ghostbusters in there, you see RoboCop, you see the Rush Hour movies, you see all Driving Miss Daisy. I mean, that was really part of the charm of the movie, and it was very creative to see what they could do with all these different effects and all that, and it works very well. It's a really good, fun concept overall that I think works very well. And yeah, unfortunately, it didn't get the best reception when it came out. It was a mixed opinion by most critics, and it was not a big hit at the box office. In fact, some people even thought that this was going to be the movie that was going to kill Jack Black's career. But give it a couple of months, and that argument will be quickly erased, because following that will be one of his biggest successes, the film that kind of cemented his celebrity going forward. But he was really good in the movie. Mos Def was really good too. Everybody plays their parts very well. Like, even the bad guy, even the antagonist of the movie, you get later on in the movie, you get a scene where, you have these FBI agents who, they have to basically come in and say, hey, you can't do this. Like, you understand why they're doing it, but you also understand how important it is to keep this place open. And it's not just because of them doing these remakes and all that, but they get the town involved in it. And this is a town that has basically kind of fallen apart. And it's a really good heartfelt storyline here. The movie is very ambiguous in how it ends too. Like, it doesn't really give you a proper ending in general about how this is all going to play out, but it does show how much these people have come to care more about each other more because of this incident that has gone on with all these videotapes. And it's a really good movie. It's a film that I think is very underrated in general, and definitely deserves a lot more appreciation over time because of how good the story is. It's a really fun story. Jack Black and Mos Def are very fun to watch in here. It's a good concept. It just works all the way across the board. I think it's a really good movie, and one that definitely deserves a lot more respect and admiration than it has. It's definitely one of Michel Gondry's most underrated movies in general, and one you should definitely check out. I highly recommend Be Kind, Rewind. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next comedy, and yeah, it's not a good one. It's when you have Larry the Cable Guy and Jenny McCarthy as your two leads, that should probably be a red flag right there to stay the hell away from this one. This is Witless Protection.
The small-town sheriff.
Keep your hands off me.
This ain't a kidnapping. I ain't a lawman.
Get away from me!
On a big-time case.
His goons will try to keep me from testifying.
Crouching Tiger. Winded Walls. On February 22nd.
We're looking for Larry.
He ain't my bra.
He's all the protection you need.
Let's go do some good.
Witless Protection.
Hey, we're a team. T-double-E-N.
Rated PG-13, February 22nd.
Well, gee, haven't seen this plot done before in so many other better movies and not starring Larry the Cable Guy and Jenny McCarthy. Like, in 1998, this probably would have been a big hit, but not in 2008. You have a small-town sheriff who witnesses what he believes is a kidnapping and rushes to rescue a woman, the woman played by Ivana Milcevic, and the kidnappers turn out to be the FBI agents assigned to protect her and deliver her to a big Enron-type corporation trial in Chicago, but are later found to be on the take and are villains who are bent on killing her. And, yeah, what more do you really have to say about this movie? I mean, you see it in the trailer there. This is not a good movie whatsoever, and, wasting a lot of good talent in this movie, man. This is a film that I feel like wastes the most talent out of all the Larry the Cable Guy movies, because not only do you have obviously you have Larry the Cable Guy, who, I'll give him credit, he can be funny in little areas. Like, I think he's great as Mater in the Cars movies. I think that's a character that just fits him so well. And I've seen him in other things where he actually can be pretty funny overall. Jenny McCarthy can be funny at times. I watched her when Singled Out was on, but then again, that was over 10 years ago. But when you have people like Joe Mantegna, Eric Roberts, Peter Stormare, Yaphet Kotto in his last thing that he did before he eventually passed away, like, you expect so much more with that group of people involved in this, and this is the end result that it gives you. And I think more than not, most people were turned away by this one, because this one didn't make its budget back at all, and I think it was the final sign from Lionsgate that, yeah, these Larry the Cable Guy movies ain't selling anybody, so yeah, we're not going to make any more of them. And yeah, because this thing didn't even make half its budget back, so that should tell you something. When even Larry the Cable Guy's biggest fans are turning away from this movie. That's how bad it really is. It's that bad of a film. It's a film that you've seen done to death so many times and done much better in other movies. But yeah, this movie isn't going to change anybody's thoughts on Larry the Cable Guy or Jenny McCarthy. And even his fans are probably have never seen this one because they're pretty much done with these movies after Delta Force and Health Inspector. And really, can you really blame them for a movie like this? But anyway, that's Witless Protection. Now let's get back to the good comedies again. We have Charlie Bartlett.
I'm totally depressed. I'm gonna work this out.
Technically, he's not a doctor.
I can't sleep. Anger and aggression.
But when it comes to giving out advice,
Well, you should, I'm not attracted to girls. Well, at least you're attracted to somebody.
he's a pro.
What are you doing this for?
I'm helping these kids. Nobody else is listening to them.
I made out with almost every guy in the football team.
All of them?
All the backfield, anyway.
Charlie Bartlett.
I think you're angry. Oh, bite me.
Starts August 3rd.
And again, kind of like with Be Kind, Rewind, there is a lot here to admire about this movie. It's a really good film where you follow Anton Yelchin, who would later go on to be Chekhov in the Star Trek movie, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. He stars as a teenager who begins to dispense therapeutic advice and prescription drugs to the student body in his new high school in order to become popular. And these are drugs that he has been given, prescribed by him, and he's basically saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and give it to these people here, because they clearly need it more than I do. And it's a very intriguing film. It's a very engaging, coming-of-age comedy is dramedy, where you have a lot of really good talent in here. Anton Yelchin, I think, is great. Kat Dennings is really good in the movie. Robert Downey Jr., this is before he became Iron Man, showing what he can do as an actor, even before he took the role of Tony Stark. Hope Davis is really good in the film. It's a very intriguing film and a very engaging storyline where even the main character has no idea what he's doing. He even has his breaking point towards the end of the movie, and you buy it. You really do buy into his scenario and trying to figure out, what am I doing here? What is he doing? Like, what is the purpose of him doing all this? And it comes to a very satisfying conclusion. I think it's a very well-made film, and one that I think is it's a very severely underrated movie. It was kind of pushed off to the side to basically be dumped off in the middle of February, even though that trailer said it was coming out in August, or 17, I had to push it back. But I think it's a lot better than people let on. I think it's a really good film. It's definitely a film that is definitely worth watching, and I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you want to see some great underrated performances by Yelchin and Robert Downey Jr. I mean, you can't go wrong with those two guys in a film like this. So, yeah, I highly recommend Charlie Bartlett. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last film we have here, and that is The Signal. And I don't usually do this because, I do a pretty good job of trying to make sure that, there's not a whole lot of, photosensitivity issues and all that. But for this particular trailer, I really have to put this warning up here that this commercial I'm about to show you. It may trigger some seizures for people who are watching who have photosensitive epilepsy. And, if you have that, I would advise you to skip this TV spot and just go straight to my review. And I'll leave a link to where you can skip to it and in the description below here. But, yeah, even I, who don't have seizures and I'm not a person with photosensitivity epilepsy, I have to tell you that, someone like me, I had to back away a little bit here, because this could be a little bit distracting, but bottom line here, I'll just let the message say this out, but basically, if you have seizures and you're somebody with photosensitive epilepsy, I would advise you to hit the description down below, click the area where my review starts.
That was strange. The TV turned itself on. That's the same sound that was coming through the phone.
1 out of 2 people just started killing each other. They just decided to kill people.
It's alive. The signal. It's a trick.
Why can't you just keep your mouth shut and watch TV?
Yeah, you see what I mean? I mean, it's really, really uncomfortable to watch, especially on a full screen like that. It's just like I could see why people would look at this and go this could really be distracting my eyes. But this is The Signal, and it's told in 3 parts in which all telecommunication and audiovisual devices transmit only a mysterious signal, turning people mad and activating murderous behavior in many of those affected. So it's kind of an anthology film. You have a couple of different elements of a psychological horror film mixed in with a splatter film, a black comedy, and also a post-apocalyptic love story. And it's an engaging idea. It's a really clever idea. The execution, not so much. I mean, the stories themselves are nothing really that significant or anything too groundbreaking, or even something that can be seen as somewhat satirical in some way, shape, or form, but it really doesn't have an iota of what it's trying to accomplish. And I think it kind of suffers because of that big time. It's a movie where I feel like the potential was there for something interesting, but it just doesn't show it on screen. It's mostly just forgettable stuff in general. And, but I guess it worked for some people, and especially in real life, because, supposedly, a day after this movie came out, 2 men were stabbed by a stranger in Fulton County whenever they showed this movie in a theater, and one of them actually suffered non-life-threatening injuries to his arm, and the other suffered a lung puncture. So yeah, this apparently got to some people, got to at least one person at least, but I mean, I don't know if that's the case or not. I guess it's confirmed if it's on here, and there's actually an article about it, because I think a lot of people would have looked at that back then and said, oh, that's probably a fake marketing ploy to sell the film, but it's apparently on there, and nobody has debunked it, so I guess it indeed happened. But yeah, as far as me concerned with the film, it's got some ambition to it. It has some really good ideas to it, but the execution just doesn't work in the end. So yeah, it's a mixed opinion, but mostly a large skip for The Signal.
It's me, Jackie Moon. Let's get sweaty. Let's get real sweaty. I'm talking rainforest sweaty. I'm talking swamp sweaty. Oh, yeah.
Hello there. I'm Jackie Moon. Owner, player, coach. You need a fourth reason to get season tickets? You're looking at it. Call now. Come on, people, let's get sweaty. Basketball sweaty. Love me sexy.
I mean, give the man credit. That is pretty sexy. The song is pretty sexy. I mean, that song, Love Me Sexy, is a pretty damn good song in particular. And, I don't know, the guy's got some pretty good legs on him, too. But that's, of course, a parody. Burt Reynolds' infamous cover where he was naked on a bearskin rug back in the 70s. But this time it's a basketball instead of a bearskin rug. But this is a movie about Will Ferrell plays a coach during the final season of the American Basketball Association. And it tells the story of a fictional ABA team desperate to survive the league's merger with the NBA. And this is one of Will Ferrell's many sports comedies, but this is one of the few ones that did not become a box office hit. It was actually seen as kind of a flop. And most people thought, kind of like with Jack Black and Be Kind Rewind, coincidentally another New Line movie the week before, they thought that this was going to be the movie that kind of was the beginning of the downfall for Will Ferrell. But he would come back to form in the summer with Step Brothers, which became the big hit that it was. And his career pretty much has stayed pretty consistent over the course of the next, 17 years. But if we're being perfectly honest here, this one is definitely much funnier than Step Brothers. At least in my opinion it is. And yeah, Semi-Pro is a pretty fun movie. It's a really good comedy that is criminally underrated. It's really funny stuff. You know, Will Ferrell is very fun in here. It's chaotic. It's over the top. It has maybe one of the best Will Ferrell lines I've ever heard in my life. One of the funniest lines from him. I mean, this is just hilarious, fun stuff right here.
Suck my cock, I'll murder your family! Suck my cock, I'll murder your family! Suck my cock, I'll murder your family! Suck my cock, I'll murder your family!
A line so good, I had to repeat it several times because I just love that line so much. Just the fact that he's so pissed off and he's just going for the most, that's what anybody would do when their anger has been pushed to an extreme level. Just say the most extreme thing possible, suck my cock, I'll murder your family. Like, that's funny stuff. I love that. That's absolutely friggin' hilarious. Every time I watch it, it's good stuff right there. And the movie is pretty fun overall. The biggest flaw of the movie, I think, was the fact that, ordinarily when you have a cast and it also includes Woody Harrelson and he has a big plot of the movie, you would think that would add to the film overall, but it actually kind of dampens the film's quality overall once you put him in here, because his subplot really kind of takes over the majority of the second half of the movie, and it really hurts the film overall because you're here to see Will Ferrell do more chaotic stuff with the concept of the sports movie that he had become known for. And there's a good concept, and there's a good funny plot with the basketball team and all, but when the film has to steer away for this subplot with Woody Harrelson, it's like, it's not that it's bad, but it just feels like it's absolutely needless. Like it could have been pushed off to the side for another movie in particular, but they just squeezed it in here. And I think that's what ended up happening that caused the film to turn its back on people. I mean, not because the movie itself was bad in any way, shape, or form. It's not that bad of a film, but it's just like, it's a subplot that really takes away from the fun of the film overall. And I think a lot of people were cleared away by that because of the fact that they had the subplot in here, and it just didn't work out so well. But the stuff that Will Ferrell and the basketball team, that's really funny stuff. I mean, him with the bear, there's a great running gag with the bear in this movie. They bring up live bear to this basketball game thinking it's going to help to promote, the home games, and it just completely ruins every single thing. It ruins everything else. It makes it even worse, and it's really funny stuff. There's a lot of good quality stuff in this movie all across the board here. Like, it's just that subplot with Woody Harrelson really just feels needless. It doesn't need to be in the film. But everything else about it, I think, is very funny. I think it's very silly. I think it's very stupid. It's very much a good fun time all across the board, except for that subplot that could have easily been taken out. But when it's focusing on the basketball team, it's really good. And I think it's a very fun movie. It's a very funny film. And it was the last film that New Line Cinema did before eventually they were absorbed into Warner Brothers. And this was essentially their last film as a studio in particular before, of course, like I said, before they were absorbed into Warner Brothers. And coincidentally, I think it happened the week that this movie came out, too. So they were already planning on doing this, even regardless of how the film did. And the film was the #1 movie at the box office, but it was opening much lower than Farrell's other movies. And many people thought that it was because it was an R-rated film, which, I mean, I don't know, because Step Brothers opened up in the summertime, and that was an R-rated film, too, and that did gangbuster business. Maybe it was just because of the release date. Maybe it was because of the fact that these R-rated comedies don't usually do that well in the springtime or something like that. I don't know. It was a weird thing. It was a weird thing that nobody could really figure out why this movie didn't do so well, and I liked it. I still think it's a very funny movie. I think if you take that subplot with Woody Harrelson out of there and just make it about the basketball team, it's a good fun movie. It's certainly a lot better than stuff like Talladega Nights, and I especially enjoy it more than Step Brothers. Again, that's just my personal take on it, but we'll delve more into Step Brothers later on in the year as we move along here, but that's semi-pro. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here, and that is The Other Boleyn Girl.
The king! The king!
Do you think you like me? How could you not?
They were the closest of sisters, but the most powerful man in the world will make them rivals.
Tonight.
I didn't betray you. You do know that.
Natalie Portman.
I could give you the son you desire.
Scarlett Johansson.
You reached too high, as always.
And Eric Bana.
Now you know how it feels to be deceived by your sister.
The Other Boleyn Girl. Rated PG-13, February 29th.
I see what you're trying to do, and I saw it right back then. It's just like, you're going to take two of the hottest actresses working in the business at that time, Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson, and put them in a movie where you think that there's going to be a lot of crazy sex, there's a lot of hot sex scenes, even whether it's between Eric Bana or maybe even between the both of them, make it this weird incestuous lesbian sex scene to appease the teenage boys back then, and it probably would have worked for me too. But no, this is anything but that. Don't let the advertising or even this provocative looking poster fool you, because it certainly fooled me. This is very much a period piece movie with a fictionalized account of the life of 16th century English aristocrats Mary Boleyn, who's played by, if I'm not mistaken, Scarlett Johansson, mistress of King Henry VIII, played by Eric Bana, and her sister Anne, played by Natalie Portman, who became the monarch's ill-fated second wife. And this is written by Peter Morgan, who gave us The Queen, and also directed by Justin Chadwick, who would later go on to direct the Nelson Mandela biopic Walk to Freedom. And despite all the things I said before, this isn't a bad movie. It actually is a very good film with a lot of with three very good actors working off each other. Natalie Portman and Scarlett Johansson and Eric Bana all work off each other very well. You also have Kristen Scott Thomas in here, Mark Rylance, who would later go on to win an Oscar for Bridge of Spies, David Morrissey. It's a good period piece movie. It's not a great one per se. There's definitely a lot of flawed things about it. And it is one of those movies that does trick you into thinking you're going to see something much more than you think you're going to get. And even then, it's not even one of the best period piece movies I've ever seen. But yeah, it works because of the actors putting their all into it. And it is an interesting storyline to tell. And it works because you have a decent script to work with here. I thought it was pretty good. So I do recommend The Other Boleyn Girl. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last film we have here, and that is Christina Ricci as Penelope.
Cursed to have the nose of a pig.
Hello? Critics agree. Penelope is causing a sensation. The public loves this girl. It's a fun, modern-day fairy tale.
I like myself the way I am.
It's magical and hilarious. Christina Ricci and James McAvoy are incredibly romantic.
He's the one.
Reese Witherspoon is irresistibly funny.
I'm done dating crazy, you know? Done. Plus it's meant to be, right?
Yeah. Penelope, rated PG. In theaters Friday, February 29th.
I think we can all see what the problem with the movie is right from the get-go, but I'll get to that after I talk about the plot of the film. It centers around a young heiress named Penelope Wilhern, played by Christina Ricci, who had been born with the snout of a pig due to a curse that was placed on her family by a vengeful witch, believing that the only way to break the curse was to find someone who truly loved her, and that person turns out to be James McAvoy. You have Catherine O'Hara as kind of this wicked not even stepmother, it's her mother who's playing in this, and Richard E. Grant, and also Reese Witherspoon, who has a little bit of a role here too. So it's kind of a mix between all these different classic fairy tales like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and also Pinocchio in a way. But yeah, you see the problem right from the get-go, and is that this curse, it's supposed to be a curse because it's supposed to make people look at this woman as a freak or something like that, but that pig nose does not make Christina Ricci look less sexy than she does. I mean, she still looks like a beautiful woman. She's just got a little pig snout nose. Like, if you're gonna do a story like this, you gotta go all in on it. You gotta go Elephant Man. You gotta go that god-awful, now I can't remember what it was. It was the one that, it was that Rat Boy from the 1980s. Like, you gotta go all in on the crazy curses here. You can't just have Christina Ricci just have a pig nose. Like, a pig nose pig nose, yeah, it looks weird, but you know what? It doesn't help that this is still on the body of Christina Ricci, who is still ungodly sexy at the time of this movie's release. And not to say that she isn't, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's just like, you already lose the the fantasy element of it when you can look at this and go like, no person out there can seriously look at this woman and say that she's not beautiful looking regardless. I mean, maybe the curse was just like, oh, whoever looks at you, they're immediately going to turn away, and regardless of how you look. Like, if it was something like that, then okay, maybe I could buy into it. But other than that, though, yeah, it really doesn't help this film overall when you just have her with this cute little pig nose that really does not look any different than a normal regular nose does. I mean, honestly, like, are you really going to look at Christina Ricci with that pig nose and say that she does not look beautiful instead of looking like this ugly creature that this movie makes her out to be? I don't think so. Like, I mean, this is a film that loses you right from the get-go, right from the get-go. But it doesn't help that the story is very much a predictable storyline. We know exactly the directions it's going to go. We know exactly where it's going to end up leading to, who's going to end up with who, so on and so forth. And it does not work in any way, shape, or form. It's like they're cramming way too many of these fairy tale tropes into one movie and trying to make it a modern romantic fantasy comedy. And it just doesn't work very well. It's a major disappointment. And because there's pieces there that could work, but it's just not enough there for me to recommend it. It's a film that has some good talent here, kind of being wasted and overlooked in this film for anything of noteworthy goodness. It just doesn't work. So yeah, a hard skip on Penelope.